Hi, my name is Josh. I'm 37 years old. I live with my wife and my 13-year-old son. We live in a 3-story house in the middle of the woods. We've been living here for the last 6 years. I was a lawyer for around 8 years when an incident happened and I sued the law firm I used to work at. Let's just say I have more money than I know what to do with. Me and my wife have been happily married for a little over 15 years now. The first 5 years of living in the middle of the woods, not worrying about neighbors or people loitering on our property, has been the biggest blessing I could ever ask for. But in the past year, that's all changed. I know all of you are going to call me and my family crazy, but we're not. Bigfoot has been harassing me and my family for the past year. We decided to use some of the money to buy some animals. We have 3 cows, 4 pigs, around 15 chickens, and we have 3 dogs. After our experience with Bigfoot, we now have 1 cow, 2 pigs, 4 chickens, and we only have 1 of our dogs left. We've tried leaving food out for Bigfoot so he would leave our animals alone, but he would just take the food, eat it, and then attack our animals anyway. I'm just stressed and on edge every second of every day. Me and my wife haven't made love in about 6 months. I stay up all night with my rifle waiting for him to show up, but I feel like he knows when I'm waiting for him. I don't know how to explain it. He knows when I'm awake waiting for him to show up. I've talked to the police and they thought I was crazy too. So there's no one to help me besides myself. While my wife and son are sleeping, I'm awake waiting for him to show up. He never attacks during the day, only at night. But when it's daytime, that's when I need to sleep and I don't have time to be with my family, which was the main reason we moved all the way out here in the first place. I went into town the other day and I started looking at traps. Of course, they had the main ones for like coyotes, foxes, rabbits, squirrels, etc. But none of them would fit a Bigfoot. When one of the salespeople came over to help me, I was afraid to tell him that I needed a trap for a Bigfoot. As soon as he started walking over to me, I tried to look away, but it was too late. "Hi, sir. Can I help you find anything?" I looked over at him and then back at the traps. "What's the biggest traps you have?" I asked him in a nervous tone. He looked at the wall. Our biggest traps would probably be one for a coyote, but only baby coyotes. I took a deep breath knowing that wasn't gonna help me at all. As I was looking, my phone started to buzz in my pocket. I answered it. My wife needed me to rush home right now. I drove as fast as I could and got home and ran inside. My wife was at the table crying and holding our son. He was crying as well. "What happened?" I asked in a serious tone. My wife tried explaining what happened for over an hour, so I'll shorten it for all of you. Bigfoot tried to get in our house to go after my wife, and when that happened, my son just showed up home from school. He screamed and he thought Bigfoot was gonna attack him. From what I've read about this so-called mythical creature, they usually try to stay away from humans, but this one is trying to get closer to us to most likely harm us, like he did to our animals. I'm running out of options. We don't want to leave our home, but we might not have a choice. I'm tired of living in fear. It's been about 3 months since the last time I made an update on my experience with Bigfoot. It's gotten a lot worse than before. A few weeks ago, I went outside in my truck and he smashed the driver's side window. We only have our dog left and he's always inside with us. I've seen Bigfoot at least 12 times since the last time I read in this journal. My son has been trying to stay at his friend's house almost every night so he doesn't have to come home. I'm sure his friend's parents think we're crazy or abusive since my son always wants to stay over there. Since the last time I updated everyone, I've talked to a few hunters. Of course, most of them think I'm crazy, but a few believe me. And the few that believe me don't want anything to do with it, which I don't blame them. But there's one person that said he's willing to help. Let's just call him George. He came over a few times and he saw him on the very first night. But after that, he hasn't seen him since. This is update number 3 on the story about my experience with Bigfoot. George hasn't been over in close to a month. But yesterday he came over with a big trap. The trap could barely fit in his truck. Tonight is the first night we're gonna try to test the trap. We set up the trap and now we're hiding in the attic. All the lights are off and now we're waiting to hear his footsteps. It's very easy to tell it's Bigfoot's footsteps because it feels like an earthquake every time he takes a step. We put a rabbit in the trap for bait, and as soon as the trap goes off, we're gonna start shooting. I bought each of us an AR-15. Before anyone asks, my son is over at his friend's house and I got my wife a hotel room for the night. That way everyone is safe. We were sitting in the attic pretty much all night just waiting for him to show up. Finally around 4:15 in the morning, we heard the loud footsteps. And we slowly looked, and it was just standing there looking at the bunny, and he started poking it with his finger. I told George to get ready. He picked up the rabbit and the trap fell onto him. We looked up and we started shooting. The loudest screams ever came from the beast. It could probably be heard from 100 miles away. The scream was louder than the bullets. We reloaded it about 3 different times and kept shooting until he stopped moving. It was like something out of a movie. We sat up in the attic for another 2 hours waiting for it to move, but it never did. We finally went downstairs and walked over to it. We poked it a few times and it wasn't moving. At that point we were so tired, but we both know the job wasn't done. We had to use a pulley system to get it in the back of the truck. The biggest problem was he was longer than the truck itself. So we had to do something that I won't explain in this journal entry. Let's just say that me and George threw up about 5 times. Hi everyone. It's been roughly a year since the last time I read in this journal entry. I've been super busy getting the year back that was taken away from me and my family because of the beast. My son finally can come home and not worrying about being attacked. Me and my wife can finally make love again and not have to sleep with one eye open. I finally have my life back. So does my family. Anyway, I just want to let everyone know that we're doing really good. I'm not going to say where we put the body of the beast. All you need to know, it's officially gone, and I'm super thankful for that. I still wake up with nightmares every once in a while, but I look around and know my family and I are safe. Thank you all for listening to the crazy man who thinks he saw Bigfoot. I know it sounds crazy and I'm okay with that, but all I know is my family is protected and we're happy. Thank you again to everyone who listened. I guess this is goodbye for now. I will post again if I have another Bigfoot problem. But the good news is I made a new friend from this experience. I can't thank George enough for his help in protecting me and my family. Thank you all again for listening to my story. Goodbye everyone.